test this thing out a little bit. Now 0.0 psi when I'm not doing anything. Negative is a vacuum, 1.4 right now. I don't know if that's 1 pound of vacuum. I don't know. Hopefully the camera can read the gauge so that I can figure out how many pounds of boost I'm doing, even though I don't have that one clamp on there. I would like to know how many it can do before it pushes apart. And when it does that, it'll kill the engine. Set at a maximum of 4 psi, only 4, so we'll see if it does it or not. Definitely hear it when it's spooling up. You can kind of feel it. It's got a little bit more pickup. Considering I'm only running, 3-4 pounds of PSI of turbo pressure. The kids like to call it boost. Considering I'm only running a couple of pounds, and I can definitely feel a little bit of a difference. I was starting to get disappointed by around town driving, thinking that, well, this turbo ain't doing shit. It's supposed to be rated to 700 horsepower, and it ain't doing nothing. But around town daily driving, I guess it's not supposed to be doing anything, but I guess that's the way it works, maybe. Because when I was right there, out of nowhere, all of a sudden I was catching up to that damn SUV. Granted, he wasn't going the speed limit, but he wasn't going up to the speed limit. He was going under. Also notice that when I'm driving around, it's not using the turbo. The turbo's spinning, but it's not actually creating any pressure in the line, because this is all vacuum according to my electronic boost controller. Get up 3,000 RPM or more, it starts to build pressure. It doesn't matter what gear you're in. Okay, so this time I turned it up to 5 psi. Now I'm going to test it out right here. I've got the gain at 100, sensitivity at 15, that's 1.5. Overboost at 5. So that's when it's kicking in and shutting down, so I don't run too much pressure. So I'm out test driving the new turbo setup, and that definitely makes a big difference. There's definitely a heat spot right there and then cold toward the front, but having that turbo blanket on there definitely helps. So I am definitely glad that I did this turbo conversion. I'm hearing something dripping. I'm hearing dripping, but I'm not seeing dripping, so I'm assuming it's just the clicking of the hot manifold, probably. It's unusual because usually they're pretty loud clicking, so that's why I'm getting thrown off. So anyway, there's a few changes that I wanted to go over with you guys. When this thing starts to build pressure, yeah, see that? It was starting to push my hose off. That was pretty much that gap right there all the way around, so it's starting to push that off. But as you can see, I have made some changes. I took out some of the hoses. I left the brake booster attached to the manifold. All the other vacuum lines, the small ones anyway, I have run through this line that goes back over to the 4-inch intake. So be advised that if you go with the same setup I did, you're not actually going to be pulling very much vacuum out of this at all. I had the brake booster running straight into this line and all those other lines and everything else running through the same line there, but it wasn't creating enough suction. So I just ended up doing what pretty much everybody else has been doing, and that's just leaving it the way it is. I'm not even really sure that you have to take off these smaller lines. Maybe if you just clamp them down a little bit, you know, use a small little hose clamp with a little flat screwdriver and tighten those down, they should be good. But that does bear mentioning that you know, I'm not running very much PSI and everything. I still got to get another one of these clamps for that spot, and then I can start running full boost and change those settings, peak boost to full power, and see how much the sucker can hold. But as it stands right now, these are the changes that I've made, just minor changes. I still haven't set up my oil filter relocation kit yet. I do have it. I do have all the parts. I just ain't done that yet. And I'm not running it during rush hour and everything else that it's going to be really demanding on it anyway, so I don't really need it right now. But I just came out here, do a quick little test drive, go home. Eventually I'll get to that before I start doing hardcore stuff. Hope it's been educational for you, and I hope it helps. do a 3,500 RPM launch.